Yo, 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 what up, what up? We are back again. It's your boy Dave Vito, and I am not alone. Got my boy Jerome Colbert with me.
What's up, people? It's good to see y'all again. So last week, we defined what an enemy was, and we peeled back some layers during that conversation. This week, we're going to talk about what is the purpose of an enemy.
Ooh, come
and we
on.
got a lot of hot fire coming for you guys.
Oh, come on now, man. Let me tell you something, man. Last week, we definitely kind of peeled the onion back. We defined what an enemy was. This week on Dead Religion, we're gonna take it up a notch, take it to the next level, peel the onion back just a little bit more for you guys. And man, come on, man. Let them know Jerome, what is the purpose of an enemy?
The purpose of an enemy, man, that's deep. What is the purpose of an enemy? For me, and for just a lot of people in general, I think it's enemies can be a distraction a lot of times. They are detractors to slow your progress. I talked about it last week, and they change the energy. They set your tone differently, and it's something that you have to really be mindful of, and you really have to set your own course in your direction when you're fighting against enemies. There's a lot of purpose in the attacks that comes different ways from enemies, and you just have to really learn how to deliver and evolve yourself to defend against those.
Yeah, right on, man. I love the fact that you use the word distractions, right? I couldn't agree with you more in that regard, man. I do believe that enemies present themselves in many shapes, many forms, many sizes. They
come from the people that are close to you too.
Oh man, it's not your enemy that gets you. It's always your own people. Come on, man. Oh man, you know, when I was thinking about what the purpose of an enemy is, you know, one of the first things that came to mind, I feel like everything that happens to us happens for us, meaning that the situation, whatever it is, it presents itself as a problem, as an enemy in this particular conversation. But truthfully, it's designed for something greater, something bigger, to propel us, to elevate us, right? And so when I think about what the purpose of an enemy is, one of the first things that comes to mind is I feel like an enemy is what develops the fight in us. Now, hold on, before we start putting on boxing gloves, you know what I'm saying, and start UFCing people, you know what I'm saying, what I mean by that is that it starts to develop the fight in you as a person, right? Not as in like a way of getting back at that person, but more about the testing of your faith, right? You got to fight those negative voices. You got to fight that negativity that's in your mind, that doubt, that fear. And a lot of times enemies can be fear, or it can be doubt, or it can be self-pity, right? Self-loathing. It comes in so many different ways, but you got to fight back against that. You know what I'm saying? You can't just sit back and just allow fear to dictate every single move in your life. Although there are some people that do allow that. For me, I feel like the point of an enemy, the purpose of an enemy is to develop that fight in you so that when the voice of fear or negativity or doubt comes, you know how to fight back. I don't know what you think about that.
No, that's pretty deep, because a lot of people, a lot of times, they will think and see an enemy as someone that's walking on 2 feet, right? But a lot of the times it's just exactly what you said, is the struggle that you're fighting against, because it could be a situation where you're trying to interview for a job or get promoted to the next level, and you feel like the enemy is against you. Those doors are closing. How do you react when you're in those situations and become a different person? So the character building and the enemy that is around you that distracts you, that defines who a person is.
Yeah.
So a purpose behind that is, how do you grow from that, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good question, man. And the truth is, I think the only way to grow from that situation is to develop your perseverance,
That's it.
your grit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got to develop endurance. You know what I'm saying? Life is going to hit you with punches, whether you're ready for them or not. You can be from Heaven City, USA. You still going to get some punches. You're going to take some licks in your life. And if you look at life as the enemy, well, I don't know where your path is in that regard. You know what I'm saying? But think about this, man. There's a lot of people who...
It's so crazy you say that, because think about the people always say the world is against me.
Oh, come on.
What?
Man, You know, sometimes I think people create enemies to be able to blame their circumstances on something other than themselves.
Absolutely.
And truthfully, until you start taking accountability for what you do and what you don't do, you always gonna find something to blame. You always gonna find an enemy to point to.
Yeah, so that purpose of the enemy, so crazy. It helps shape the purpose of your life a lot of times. Right. How that defines a person, the character in a person.
That's right. That's right. It makes it stronger.
It's
either going look, you either gonna sink or swim. You're gonna fight or flight. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, if you learn how to develop that fight within you, it'll make you stronger. You'll be glad you actually went through it. You'll be glad you actually confronted it, because it's only through confrontation that you can kick down the door or break down that wall and get to your next. Come on, man.
Love it. Love it.
Man, another thing when I think about the purpose of an enemy is the maturation of your character.
Yeah.
The maturation of your emotions, the maturation of your spirit, most importantly. Because think about it, man, how many men are actually boys? Never grown up. They still doing their childish things.
Right.
In conflict, again, you either win or you either lose. Either the conflict gets you or you overcome the conflict, right? To me, I think about growth and development, right? The only way that you can start to embrace growth and development is through a maturation of your circumstances, of your life. Maybe you're just sick and tired of being sick and tired, and there's a turning point, a compelling event, so to speak, that enables you to say, you know what, I want something different. This can't be life. You know what I'm saying? There's got to be something more for me out there. And that's for me, that personally, and I'm talking about myself here, right? Like that's what kind of triggered my journey of growth and development. You know what I'm saying? But it also caused me to self-reflect as well. Because a lot of times we make enemies out of things that really aren't our enemies. They're actually our allies. They're actually obstacles that are meant for us to overcome.
Right.
Because without the obstacle, or without the enemy in this case, you cannot progress in life. You cannot move forward. You cannot mature. I don't know about you, dog, but that's how it feels for me.
No, that maturation is the key ingredient to finding that purpose and defeating the enemy. A lot of times you will find yourself in a situation where you could be in the wrong room a lot of times with the wrong people, and that enemy is there and present and defeating you. But the maturation comes from stepping into something different, elevating yourself, putting yourself in a room where people are growing, people are wanting more things, people are wanting life to be better. How do you do that? You get with the right people.
Yep.
You take those steps.
Yep.
You learn from the mistakes that you made. You don't let the enemy continue to take that strong hold and tell you, woe is me. No, it's not.
Come on.
It's not woe is me.
Oh, come on, man. You talking to the people right now,
You shift those gears for yourself.
Exactly, man. See,
and that's the stage, and while we're having these conversations right now, we shifted that dynamic in our lives, in our family.
That's right.
We're propelling things differently.
That's right. There's so many people that I know who allow themselves, allow their emotions to lead themselves.
They do.
And they don't ever learn how to improve their emotions.
Ooh.
They never learn how to improve their reactions to situations. I mean, you see grown men having these emotional outbursts. You see it all the time on the streets.
And keep doing the same thing over and over.
Over again. Man, you see it in traffic all day long.
Yeah.
You get cutting. Oh, no, he ain't going to get me. I'm first. Like, bro, the reaction to something, you're going to keep going through it until you grow through it. You know what I'm saying?
So what do you do? In those moments, you stop and you be intentional and you make a decision. I'm not going to react that way.
That's right.
Tell myself that I'm not going to react that way.
That's right.
Tell myself I'm not going to say that to my wife. Tell myself I'm not going to lead and show my kids that. And it changes and it helps you become a bigger person.
That's right. Look, you got to change your approach.
That's it.
So when I say that enemies mature, it's a maturation process for us, right? It's only if you're really like self-reflecting, if you're really growing and developing, if you're trying to improve your emotions, if you're trying to improve your reactions. Only when you do those things can you actually change your approach. And when you change your approach, then you can change your life, you can change your results, you can change the world.
Man, that's the purpose of this podcast. We don't have it figured out, but we taking nuggets here and there. We sharing some things that work for us. We hoping it works for you too. But you just got to be somebody that wants to be something different if your situation is not the way it's supposed to be, you have that power, you have that authority.
Facts.
To take it and control it.
Big facts, big facts. Now, obviously, this is a faith-based, podcast, and granted, we do not believe in religion. We believe in relationships. We believe that relationships with Christ, relationships with people.
We believe in love with people all the time.
Absolutely. So, but I would be remiss if I didn't say that part of the purpose of enemies is to be more like Christ. Now, for all the evangelicals and the radicals out there that are like, oh, that's blasphemy, you can never be like Christ. I hear you. I understand where you're coming from, but hear me out. Hear me out. Entertain this thought, even if you don't accept it. Just entertain this thought for a second. Did Jesus not die for his enemies? Was he not killed by his enemies? I don't know about you, man, but like we said earlier, it's not your enemy who gets you, it's always your own people. It was Jesus' own people that hung him on that cross. It was Jesus' own friend who betrayed him and kissed him on the cheek and told him, hey, that's the one. For money, he betrayed him. I mean, in society, you call that an enemy. For me personally, I would call that an enemy. But Jesus still willingly chose to die and to be killed by his enemies. That couldn't be in vain, man. I don't know what you're thinking, man.
Man, that's a mic drop moment. There ain't nothing else that needs to be said. There ain't nothing else that really needs to be said. But at the end of the day, not being Christ-like, right?
Turn the other cheek.
Turn the other cheek, love your enemy, and just love people the way God has told us to do.
And you know what's so crazy about
love your enemies, love your neighbors, love people.
Love people, love God, love people. That was like his number one commandment, right? But I can't, bro, every time I think about Christ dying on the cross, I can't help but feel that he died willingly for atheists, people who they don't even believe in God, for Satanists, people who actually serve the adversary themselves, right? Believe in that aspect of life. People who would never, and when I say non-believers, I'm talking about anybody that doesn't believe in Jesus or the gospel in any way, shape, or form. Now listen, you can know about Jesus and you can know about what he did and everything else like that, but if you don't know Jesus for yourself, I'm not calling you a non-believer. I'm talking about people who know what he did, understand the price that he paid, but choose not to accept it. To me, that's a non-believer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And Jesus knew that there would be people that wouldn't believe in him. Jesus knew that there would be people that would not spread love. Jesus knew that there would be people that would condemn and hate on other people in his name, for his glory, so to speak. And yet he still chose to willingly die for them and give his life for them, to give them a chance, to give them an opportunity to do better, to think better, to be better, to transform themselves, to be able to change the dynamics at any moment of their lives, to be able to change the dynamic and the results and the trajectory of their life at any moment. That to me is just the epitome of the definition, the purpose of your enemy.
Right. And listen, so we're not saying that, excuse me, that you're going to be friends with all your enemies. You're not going to shoot marbles with all your enemies, right? But being God-like is having that love for people, no matter the situation. It's just so important. As a person who's striving to have core values and really just be centered in what God is and what love is, enemies are going to happen. They're going to be always in your life. But your reaction to those enemies helps the world be a better place and change the way life is done for a lot of people. So
yeah, and I love the fact that you pointed that out, because it's true. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not going to break bread with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some people that it's probably best we go our separate ways, right?
For sure.
But you can't hang on to, what happened, or you can't, you just can't dwell on it. You know what I'm saying? Because if you do, there's a good chance that,
you become like that person.
Exactly.
A lot of times.
Come on, man.
You become like that person.
Exactly.
You become a fruit of negativity. You become a fruit of talking about and speaking wrong about somebody, what comes out of your mouth really happens a lot of times in life. You don't want to be that person.
I agree. Look, problems give birth to problems.
Absolutely.
Conflict give birth to conflict.
Right.
Until you decide to change your approach, until you decide to react differently, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've always thought about what it was to turn the other cheek. Because I'm telling you right now, dog, somebody come in here and slap me in the face, bro. We fighting. We fighting, bro. Now, look, I may ask you for
Not now. You're
later.
different now.
Well, I'm different now, but you know what I'm saying? But I don't think I'm going to turn the other cheek and let you slap the other one. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But I think it was always just an expression that Jesus had, you know, in turning the other cheek into how we should always approach our enemies and how we should approach people who don't think like us, who maybe don't know what we know, right? A lot of times people just don't know better because they don't do better because they don't know better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like there is such a thing as a product of your environment. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of times people live in their normal, you know what I'm saying, and just think that it's everyday life. And then there's other people who may not understand that, and because they don't understand that, they hate on that, right? Like, oh, why is that person like this? Or why does that person say stuff like that? Or whatever the case might be. You know, turning the other cheek is just giving grace to people.
There you go.
Giving mercy
Always grace,
to
baby.
people. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I may have cheated a little bit on that, man. But yeah, it's giving grace to people. It's giving mercy to people. It's letting people know, hey, you're not perfect, but neither am I. We okay with that. Listen.
And that person doesn't have to be a lifelong enemy. What is the word that they use now? A frenemy?
A frenemy.
Have one of those in your life and just continue to show love to everybody.
Exactly.
Frenemies are great.
Exactly, man. But look, listen. Hey, peel the onion back a little bit more. Last week again, we talked about what an enemy is. This week, we talked about what the purpose of an enemy is. You do not want to miss next week's episode because we are actually going to talk about when an enemy stops becoming an enemy. Look, we are Dead Religion. My name is Dave Vito. That's Jerome Colbert, and we are out.